Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. These little bubbles over. Okay, so these webinar sessions are hosted by Rachel Lindberg, a Master's of Counseling and Psychology practicum student, and Ashley McLeaf, that's me, a Master's of Social Work field student. We're both supervised by Mark Rem, LPC, and Director of the Angelo State Counseling Services. So these webinar sessions are informational and psychoeducational and are not intended to be used as psychotherapeutic treatment. So if these sessions cause any psychological or emotional discomfort, please don't hesitate to call the ASU Counseling Services. Our number is 325-942-2371, or the Crisis Helpline, which is 325-486-6345 for immediate assistance, and that is available 24/7. And also these sessions are recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you have any questions at the end, just be mindful about possible oversharing. So a little bit about us. I am Ashley McLeaf. I am social work advanced standing graduate field student. Here at the Counseling Center, I conduct intake assessments and provide case management services to students. And then I also will seek licensure as a licensed master social worker after graduation. And then a little fun fact about me is I listen to like 10 different podcasts. So that's how I decompress
and that's fun. I'm Rachel. I am the counseling psychology graduate practicum student. I conduct intake assessments, and I can also provide individual, couples, and group counseling. After I graduate, I'm going to seek licensure as a licensed professional counselor. And I have some more hours to complete for that. And then my fun fact, I share a birthday with one of my dogs, which is always fun.
Awesome. And then so today we're going to be talking about insomnia and sleep hygiene. So kind of the fun topic for us college kids. That's one of the things that like just about everyone that comes into the counseling center, they say that they have a hard time with sleeping, getting enough sleep, and getting good quality sleep. So we're super excited for this webinar this week, and I will let Rachel go ahead and get us started.
Yeah, so we're going to do some education on actually what happens when we sleep, how sleep can be impaired, and other ways to improve sleep. I just want to point out, like, my freshman year when I was living in the dorms were probably the worst year of sleep in my life. There were always lights and noises, and I had a roommate in early classes. So I just want to point out that, like, even though your sleep might be impaired, it doesn't always mean that you have like diagnosable insomnia or other sleep-wake disorders. So yeah, we're just going to go through that a little bit. So there are different stages of sleep. Usually people throw around the term REM sleep. We get our best sleep when we're in REM sleep. That's not necessarily true. So stage 1, non-REM sleep, it's the changeover from wakefulness to sleep. So it's when we finally drift away. During this short period, it actually only lasts a couple of minutes. It's relatively light. Our heartbeat, breathing, and eye movements slow down, and our muscles relax. So during this time, sometimes we twitch, and we twitch ourselves awake because we were in kind of like a lighter sleep. So twitching is very common when we're in this stage of sleep. Stage 2 is also non-REM sleep. It's a period of light sleep before we enter deep sleep. Our heartbeat and breathing slow down and our muscles relax even further. Your body temperature drops and eye movements stop. It's not like, you can kind of see it under your eyelid. And we spend most of our repeated sleep cycles in stage 2 than the other sleep stages. So I just want to point out that we spend more time in non-REM sleep than we do in REM sleep. So yeah. So stage 3 is also non-REM sleep. It's the period of deep sleep that we need to feel refreshed in the morning. So here we go. Non-REM sleep is actually our deepest sleep. It occurs in longer periods during the first half of the night. So this is a little bit closer to when you first fall asleep. This is when our heartbeat and breathing is at the lowest level, the slowest speed. Our muscles are relaxed, and it may be really difficult to awaken you at this point. So, a lot of non-REM sleep disorders like sleepwalking, it's hard to wake them up because they're in this stage. And then REM sleep. So REM sleep first occurs about 90 minutes after falling asleep. Your eyes move rapidly from side to side underneath your closed eyelids. The mixed frequency brain activity, your brain wave activity, becomes closer to what it looks like in wakefulness. Breathing is a little bit faster and irregular. Heart rate and blood pressure increase to nearing waking levels. Most of our dreaming occurs during REM sleep, which is why our brain activity is so active. Although dreaming can also occur in non-REM sleep. So during REM sleep, your arm and leg muscles are temporarily paralyzed, which prevents you from acting out your dreams. So some of the REM sleep disorders are those like sleep paralysis, where you're dreaming and can't move, or night terrors. So having nightmares can occur during this stage. And then as we get older, we spend less of our time in REM sleep. We spend more time in the non-REM stages. And memory consolidation, so everything that happened during the day, as our brain goes to store it from short-term to long-term memory, requires both non-REM and REM sleep. That's why it's important to get a full night's sleep, because we need all 4 of these stages multiple times throughout the night in order to get our most restful and refreshing sleep.
That sentence always makes me think about Inside Out when she goes to sleep and they're like, all right, we're taking the memories from today.
And that is exactly what happens, like scientifically. I'm just kidding. But yeah, our little neurons carry them over into different parts of our brain for storage. But anywho, sleeping puppy. So why is sleep important? We all know that it's important to sleep and that it's essential to functioning. But it can be a problem when we don't get sleep. So 40% of adults experience daytime sleepiness severe enough to interfere with their daily activities at least a few days each month. So almost half of adults are sleepy enough during the day for it to affect work, school, parenting, your relationships with others, whether that's family, friends, your partner. And when it starts to interfere frequently enough, that's when it can be a problem that needs to be addressed. So sleep is important because it improves concentration and productivity. It improves athletic and physical performance. It allows the body to rest and recover, and that includes physical and also like mental and emotional. It helps reduce the risk of some medical diseases, conditions, medical conditions, like type 2 diabetes, stroke, heart disease, weight gain, inflammation, and also mental conditions like depression and anxiety. It helps improve your mood, your emotional well-being, and the ability to connect with others socially, as well as maintaining healthy and effective immune functioning. So immune functioning is very important. If our immune system is down, we're going to be getting sicker more often and maybe more prone to other conditions. So yes, sleep is fantastic. Sometimes I regret too, like, why did I not nap when I was so little? Like, come on. or, anyway, so here are some of the effects of impaired sleep. So when we have insomnia or the inability to fall asleep or the inability to sustain sleep, that deprives us of that restorative sleep, like being able to cycle through those 4 stages. But there are other causes of like sleep deprivation. So people who do shift work, maybe they work night shift or they work, some shifts are like 3 p.m. to it's like 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. or something like that. Like that interferes with like the normal daily circadian rhythm that our bodies are used to because of like daylight and nighttime. So even though those people might be perfectly capable of being able to sleep well, they're unable to because their body is operating on a different schedule. And so some other conditions might need to be set up for them to be able to get the sleep that they need during the daylight hours. But whatever the cause, sleep deprivation has predictable consequences. Like we know pretty well what happens when we lack sleep. So daytime drowsiness, depression and irritability, impaired concentration and judgment, and diminished performance, both on the job, whether it's actual work or school work or family work, that kind of thing, and off the job. And also, I really wanted to point out, this is something that really needs to be pointed out, is that it also increases the risk of accidents such as sleep-related car collisions. Drowsy driving is just as dangerous, if not sometimes more dangerous than drunk driving. Can have the same kinds of consequences and result in, someone getting severely hurt or even dying. So really wanted to point that out. So there are some disorders that are related to sleep functioning. We're not going to go too in depth with these, but I just wanted to point out that these exist. Some people just think like, oh, just it's insomnia or whatever. I just kind of wanted to go through these real quick. So there are sleep-wake disorders, which are related to difficulties with those 4 stages of sleep. So there's insomnia and then hypersomnia, so sleeping too much. And that includes like narcolepsy. There are sleep-related breathing disorders such as sleep apnea, sleep cycle disorders, the parasomnias. So those are like the nightmares, bedwetting, sleepwalking, sleep terrors, those kinds of things. There's sleep-related movement disorders, like the periodic limb movement, which is like the twitching or acting out your dreams disorder, and then teeth grinding also. And then sleep medication dependence. So some people rely on medications, such as more heavy ones like Ambien, or medications that aren't necessarily like made for sleeping, they're made for pain, like hydrocodone and Valium, like muscle relaxant kind of pain medication, because those make us sleepy. So there's that, and also adherence to sleep-specific medical procedures, like using the mask, which is the positive airway pressure therapy for sleep apnea. There could be dependence on that, or sleeping in the context of related medical or psychological illnesses. So like depression is related to depression and anxiety are both related to either sleeping too much or sleeping too little, that kind of thing. So insomnia. So we're not going to go through the specifics of all of those sleep-related disorders, but we are going to talk about insomnia. So insomnia is a sleep disorder in which you have trouble falling or staying asleep. It can be short-term, which is acute, or it can last a long time, chronic. And then it also can come and go. It doesn't necessarily, like just because you have insomnia right now, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll have it the rest of your life. So acute insomnia lasts from one night to a few weeks, but chronic insomnia, which makes it a diagnosable mental health condition, it has to occur for at least 3 nights a week for 3 months or more. So in the next slide, I'm going to go over the more specific criteria. But just based off this fact sheet, it's the most common sleep disorder in the United States. It's associated with things like drowsiness, lack of energy, anxiety, irritability. Approximately 40 million Americans have insomnia. It has a higher prevalence in women and older adults. And there are also things that can cause insomnia, such as like medical conditions or your sleep schedule, anxiety and stress, and things like that. So some of the specific diagnostic criteria. So we use the term insomnia a lot just when we like can't fall asleep, but it might not even necessarily be insomnia disorder. So I just really wanted to point out that a doctor or a licensed mental health clinician has to see this criteria in order for you to actually meet having an insomnia disorder. So it's a predominant complaint of dissatisfaction with sleep quantity or quality, and it's associated with one or more of the following symptoms: difficulty initiating sleep, difficulty sustaining sleep, and early morning awakening with the inability to return to sleep. So that's, if we fall asleep at 11 o'clock, but wake up at 2 a.m. and can't get back to sleep, that's considered insomnia. So the sleep disturbance has to cause clinically significant stress or impairment in social, occupational, educational, academic, behavioral, or other important areas. It occurs at least 3 nights per week and is present for at least 3 months. And the sleep difficulty occurs despite adequate opportunity for sleep. So if you are just staying up late, you're journaling, watching TV, doing homework, cleaning, whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean you have insomnia, because you do have the opportunity to try to lay down and go to sleep. So I think that's really important to point out. And then it can't be better explained by another medical or mental health diagnosis, including other sleep-wake disorders or to substance use and abuse. If there's another medical or mental health condition, that kind of supersedes the insomnia, because most of the time, if you can address those other conditions, the insomnia could be resolved by addressing those issues first.
All right, awesome. So we've talked about insomnia and the importance of restful sleep and everything, but what is restful sleep? Yes, so sleeping well directly affects your mental and physical health. We've already discussed some of the physical health things that can occur, disorders or conditions that can occur, and also mental health. If you're not getting adequate sleep or restful sleep, you're not going to be able to have clear mental functioning. And then falling short of it can seriously take a toll on daytime energy, productivity, emotional balance, and even weight. Restful sleep consists of feeling well rested, the ability to go to sleep and stay asleep, and wake up appropriately. So we talk about waking up at an adequate time and not like sleeping through classes or like not waking up too early, I guess. So, and restful sleep cycles through all of those sleep cycles. So like the stages of sleep we talked about before, the 3 non-REM and REM sleep. So restful sleep is able to cycle through all of each of these steps and then go through that multiple times throughout the night. And then everybody's different and may need different things to feel well rested. So it's important to identify and cater to your specific needs. So are you someone who needs more sleep to be able to function well, or can you function well on a little bit less sleep? average. So just figuring out what works for you, what your body specifically needs. And then some sleep hygiene tips. So consistency. So making sure that you go to bed and wake up at the same time each day, including weekends. And then if you do want to like sleep in on the weekends, making sure that it's just that it's not a big difference in time, that it is a little bit more consistent with your week schedule and only off by like maybe an hour or two. So making sure that your bedroom is quiet, dark, relaxing, and at a comfortable temperature. We're going to talk a little bit more about setting up your bedroom for sleep in the next slide. And then so also removing electronic devices, TVs, computers, smartphones if possible from the bedroom, making sure that you're not exposed to these, we call it blue light, close to bed. And then avoiding large meals, caffeine and alcohol before bedtime. That if you eat a big or large meal, you're probably not going to be comfortable enough to be able to go to sleep. And then caffeine and alcohol are inhibitory. Caffeine wakes you up, and then alcohol, most alcoholic beverages have a fair amount of sugar, so that can affect sleep. And then getting some exercise. It can help you fall asleep more easily at night. And then the timing of that exercise also kind of depends on your body. So if you feel good exercising first thing in the morning, in the middle of the day, or right before you go to bed, it might be difficult for some people to go to bed right after exercising. So maybe pushing that exercise up to earlier in the day because of just the endorphins that exercise releases in our body. It can make us more wakeful than sleepy. But definitely doing some like cool down yoga, some mindfulness meditation and things like that before bed. Don't spend time in your bed until you're sleepy. This is so important because our brain creates associations. So if you're sitting in your bed, if you eat in your bed, if you do your homework in your bed, your brain associates your bed with being awake, and that it is more difficult to fall asleep in the bed. And then limit exposure to bright lights before bedtime. This is also the reverse, making sure that you're exposed to lights during the day, just so that your body can kind of create that natural circadian rhythm of like, oh, it's daytime, we're awake now, and then whenever it's dark, then your body can be ready for sleep. And then also this one kind of goes back to the don't spend time in your bed, but dedicate specific areas for specific activities. So making sure you utilize your desk for work and school, and your dining room table for eating, things like that. And then just making sure you are not using your bed for anything except sleep or sex, so that your brain can have those clear associations of like crawl into bed, it's time to go to bed. And then also avoiding consuming nicotine, caffeine, and alcohol before bedtime. Those are all some great tips just to make sure those are good for kind of setting up your sleep schedule. And then also a good thing to do is tracking your sleep, especially if you're trying to set up these schedules. So maintaining a dream journal. So this could be an awesome way of tracking your sleep. So writing or recording in your notes or voice recording dreams that you have. Dreams are an essential part of functioning. We don't quite know the reason why we dream, but we know that we must do it. And they may help us process the emotions of what's kind of going on in our lives. So writing down dreams that you have can be really beneficial for kind of processing everything that's been going on, especially with all the crazy changes that happen while you're in college. And then also creating a sleep diary or sleep journal. So writing or recording your sleep routine. So activities that you do before bed, the time that you got into bed, how long it takes to fall asleep, when you wake up. The sleep diary could also be a place where you write down your dreams in the morning. It could be an awesome way to incorporate a good routine into your life. You get into bed, you have your little sleep diary. You say, okay, I brushed my teeth, I brushed my hair, I got in my pajamas. I did all of these things before I went to bed, and I got into bed at 11, whatever time. And then it can also be a good way to practice gratitude. So kind of going through your day and identifying what you've been grateful for, if that's the kind of thing that you like to do. And then also first thing in the morning, being like, okay, I woke up at 7 today, and these are the things that and then setting up your day for your intentions of the day. And then utilizing smart technology is an awesome way to track sleep. There are so many sleep tracking apps on your phone or a smartwatch. Smartwatches can actually track your heart rate. And so they can kind of identify when you're in what stage of sleep, and how long you actually are asleep. So that can be an awesome little tool for you if you're interested in tracking the amount of sleep that you're getting and kind of setting up these routines. And so optimizing your bedroom environment. So probably one of the most important things is making sure that it's at the right sleeping temperature for you. If you need to be colder with a fan on, then that is what you need to have going on. Or if you like for the room to be a little bit warmer, just making sure that it is comfortable for you, and that your bed itself is comfortable to you. So the mattress, your pillows, your sheets, your blankets, making sure that everything feels comfortable and kind of cozy. Limiting outside noise if possible. We have so much construction going on outside. I know you guys can probably hear it. But if it is possible in your life to kind of limit that outside noise and make sure that you create that good environment for sleep. And then limiting excess light. So making sure that you don't have a street light in your window or things like that. If you need to have a night light and a little bit of light in your room, then making sure that you have that adequate limited amount of light, but making sure that it is not an excessive amount of light. And then also arranging your furniture in a way that is enjoyable and can create a secure environment. So it's important for us to not feel anxious when we are trying to sleep. So just making sure that everything is set up in a way that makes you feel secure and safe. So this is making sure that you have a lockable door, that you're not going to trip over yesterday's clothes if you have to get up in the middle of the night. Things like that, just making you feel secure. And then creating a space for mindful thinking and meditation. Mindful thinking and meditation are not always, they don't coincide, but they can go together. So being able to practice mindful thinking at the end of the day or first thing in the morning, being able to either consolidate and process your day or be able to set your intentions for your next day. So those are both super important things on getting restful sleep and feeling like you're ready to tackle your day. Keeping your sleep, dream, gratitude journal nearby so that you can have it if you need to write something down, if that is your jam. And then making sure that everything is prepared for the next day. This always makes me think of, you know, like your mom telling you, like, set your clothes out for tomorrow. But it's not just including clothes. It's also just making sure that you're prepared for the next day, that you don't have clutter that you need to worry about, that you are ready for class in the morning, that you don't have a huge project due tomorrow, that you need extra time working on. Just making sure that everything is prepared and set for your next day. And then making sure that your bedroom is quiet, relaxing, clean, and enjoyable place. So a lot of the times if we have a cluttered space, it creates anxiety in our lives. So it's important to kind of make sure that you have a relaxing environment to be able to get some good restful sleep. And then also creating a better morning. So we're sleeping so that we can have a good day. So you can have better sleep during the night by setting up a productive good morning. So setting a specific morning routine of, okay, I want to wake up, I want to make my bed, I want to brush my teeth, I want to do this list of tasks first thing in the morning. Making sure that you have that routine of something that you do daily, that you can kind of go through. And the best way to start a morning routine is not wait till the nighttime. Not put too much pressure on going to bed early if you're like, okay, I really want to wake up at 6 every morning. Not putting too much pressure on yourself going to bed at a certain time for the first night. Just setting your alarm and waking up at 6 in the morning and then having that day. And then that will then transition to you having a better sleep in the night and so on and so forth. So that's a good tip. And then make your bed first thing in the morning. Joey Ball's in the TED Talk with the Navy guy about making your bed first thing. But it is so important. So this is a small task, takes like a couple minutes, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment and sets up your day for success. So if you make your bed first thing in the morning, you've already met a goal, you've already done something good for yourself, and then it also helps to prevent you from crawling back into bed and going back to sleep in the morning. So if you get up and you make your bed first thing, you're not going to then fall back asleep and sleep through your class, or you're less likely to. So making your bed first thing in the morning is something that I always think is really important. And then practicing your hygiene routine. First thing in the morning, making sure you've made your bed, and then now, okay, I'm gonna brush my teeth, brush my hair, put on deodorant, do these things, take a shower, whatever your hygiene routine is in the morning, and then drink water. It's important to drink water first thing in the morning. We kind of get dehydrated a little bit, and we need some water back in our body, and then also eating a balanced breakfast. I'm not too much of a breakfast person, but it is a very important meal. And then avoiding taking naps late in the day. We all love our naps. I'm definitely not advocating against naps ever, but just making sure that your naps are not going to be too late in the day and not going to kind of cut into your nighttime sleep. So my personal rule is I don't take naps after 3 in the afternoon. I feel like that, for me, that cuts it where I will not be able to fall asleep at night. But in college, sometimes you are not able to get a good amount of sleep. Sometimes you might have a job that you have to be at late, or you're working on a project. And so taking naps is a good way to kind of replenish some sleep. And then some resources for insomnia and sleep hygiene. So this first one, and we're gonna copy these links into our little chat bubble. So this one is a little handout on sleep hygiene. So it goes through setting a schedule, don't force yourself to sleep, avoiding caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine, napping, using your bed only for sleep, exercising, eating well, and sleeping in a comfortable environment. So a lot of the things that we've talked about, but it's still good to have it in the little handout. And then this little sleep diary worksheet. This is awesome, especially if you are wanting to start doing this and you've never done this before. This little worksheet goes through a morning log. So what day of the week it is, what time you went to bed, what time you woke up, how long you slept, how long it took you to fall asleep, the quality of your sleep. This morning, how do I feel? And then sleep was made more difficult by whatever. And then during the night, I woke up however many times. This is a great little worksheet that's just like super quick, just like one word answers, super easy to go through, especially if you're wanting to start kind of tracking this and keeping a log of this. And then the night sheet is like, oh, did I take a nap today? I had caffeine today. Had a big old coffee this morning. I exercised for how long? Medication or drugs used. I felt drowsy throughout the day. Overall, my mood. And then in the hour before bed, my activities included. So what did you do in that hour? Did you finish up a movie and do your nighttime routine, or were you on your phone? Like, just different things. So that's a really awesome little worksheet. And then some different apps. So these ones are more for relaxation, meditation guides, calming noises for sleep, or first thing in the morning. So Headspace, Noisily, and Calm are 3 apps that are pretty awesome for these resources. They offer little meditations, and like I know that Calm does like storytelling, like they do bedtime stories, but like adult bedtime stories. So that's pretty awesome. And then some relaxation techniques. Whenever we can't go to sleep, we have a hard time going to sleep if we cannot relax our body. So this goes through some different relaxation techniques that you can do right before bed. Start doing like that hour before bed, maybe practicing deep breathing, and then whenever you get into bed, working on some other ones. So this goes through how to deep breathe and imagery, and how to practice imagery. And then, so it goes through all of your senses. And then progressive muscle relaxation. This is a great thing to do like while you're in bed if you cannot fall asleep. This is something that is usually done at the end of like a relaxation yoga. So it's an awesome way to kind of calm your body. So those are just some tips and tricks. And then this last one is some different mindfulness meditation resources. The Awake Network released this. It's for times of social distancing, COVID-19. So it does have some specific mindfulness activities to calm you down in relation to COVID-19 and being socially distanced at this time. But it also has some other, like a ton of other different resources to practice mindfulness and meditation if that is something you're interested in. So it's just an awesome little resource. So, and then some of them are at specific times, and then some of them are just available. And then also you can find so many resources on the internet. So if you don't like one, you can definitely research mindfulness on YouTube and see if you can find someone that you like there, or through one of these apps. if that is something that you're interested in doing. And then, of course, our little resource sheet for ASU. So the National Suicide Prevention Line, which is 1-800-273-8255. The Trevor Lifeline for LGBT youth is 866-488-7386. The National Sexual Assault Hotline, which is 1-800-656-4673. And then the Veterans Crisis Line, which is 800-273-8255, and then press 1. And then, of course, we have our ASU crisis line down here, which is 325-486-6345. And then you can always reach out to the ASU counseling services if you feel like you need assistance at 325-942-2371. We are 100% here to help you guys. So even if you're curious about it or you have some questions, we are definitely here to help. And then, so that kind of wraps it up and brings us to the end. Do you guys have any questions for us? And I can go ahead and stop sharing. All right, well, if you guys don't have any questions, we will go ahead and wrap up. Thank you guys for attending. We love doing these webinars. Next week, we're talking about depression, I believe. So tune in for that one as well if you would like to. And thank you guys for attending. And have a great day.
Bye.